Welcome to Let's Get Into It. I am your host, Sherelle Higgins. Let's Get Into It is a safe space to have real conversations that are meant to uplift, encourage, and let you know you are not the only one dealing with life. Each episode of Let's Get Into It is designed to provide illuminating and thought-provoking information on a variety of topics. In fact, no topic is off limit. If you would like to see a topic discussed, please feel free to make a recommendation. My special guest and I will have a great time discussing topics that the mainstream media wouldn't dare discuss. We will bring these conversations to you with an open mind, respectfully, from different perspectives, and most importantly, with love. Thank you for joining me and my special guest. Now, let's get into it. Hello. Welcome to Let's Get Into It. I am your host, Sherelle Higgins, and today we are going to put our money where our mouths are. And so one of the things I've been thinking about since the election is how can I do my part to not only support Black businesses, but also to support other Black women? And so my guest today is very timely because she is a Black business owner. And I want to introduce her to my audience so that you all have an opportunity to meet her and also support her Black business. You know, as we've been talking about Black women, take your rest. Black women, this is not our fight. What is our fight is that we are going to do better at supporting Black businesses. And let me just say this about all Black businesses. One is, if you interact with the Black business and the service is not up to par, or it did not meet your expectations, don't throw that Black business away. Please have a conversation with that Black business. Tell them what your expectations are and give them another chance. Just as we do these big box companies, when we go in there, we get bad service, we still go back. We don't just cut them off. And so I want us to challenge ourselves to treat our Black businesses the same way, because as we know, they have to grow into the mega companies that they have the potential of being. And the only way they can get there is by us supporting them. Now, it is not by chance that I have on my Paul Robeson shirt. And so I attended Paul Robeson High School in the city of Chicago. And it just I felt like I was wrapping comfort around me, understanding what Paul Robeson stood for. And so with that being said, I'd like to bring my special guest, Christina Royster, to the stage. Welcome, Christina.
Sherelle, it's such a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you so much for the introduction and the warm welcome.
Oh, you're welcome. And so, my sister is saying, hello, Grand Diva. And so Christina and I met at a Girl Get Going conference. And so we connected. And so, for many people who know me that watch the show, you know that I'm an introvert. Can't tell sometimes, but I'm an introvert, but I connect very easily with other people. And it's not that I'm shy or, I don't have any social skills, because I have lots of those. It's just that, I get my energy from myself. And so sometimes when I'm interacting with the public, it exhausts me because I am an introvert. But introvert or not, I am definitely pleased to have met Christina and start a relationship with her because she is a powerful Black woman. So let me tell you a little bit about Christina. Christina is the founder, director, president, and CEO of Big Media Agency. Her firm specializes in marketing communications, in web design, digital marketing, public relations, and social media. And so she has a full plate of things that she has to do being in that type of space. She is a visionary, a storyteller. She uses cutting edge technology and digital strategies to empower her clients to drive consumer engagement. She is also a graduate of the HBCU Morgan State University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in English and a minor in writing for television. She also has worked in Hollywood on popular sitcoms such as Sister Sister, come on, Tia and Tamara Mowry, and also For Your Love. That was with Holly Robinson Pete, right?
That's correct.
Okay, I used to like that show too. She is an award-winning journalist. She has been on the front cover of the Baltimore Business Journal for her expertise in the hospitality industry, and she has served on boards and the chambers of commerce in her community. And so, again, I want to welcome Christina to the show. That is a very impressive resume, Christina. So I'm excited for my audience to learn more about Big Media Agency and what type of services you offer and how they can leverage your business to promote their own business. And so, with that being said, let me ask you, what does entrepreneurship mean to you?
Entrepreneurship means freedom to me. I've worked corporate side and in nonprofits my whole, as long as I could actually work. I was grateful to start in Hollywood. My first job was with the Walt Disney Company. I took a lot away from each opportunity, but what I was able to really apply to entrepreneurship is that having an entrepreneurship mindset helps you in any industry and in any job. But when you can actually go out and eat the food that you kill, and the kind of power that you have to have, the kind of power you have to manifest to be able to do that, it's exhilarating, it's exciting, but it also creates another set of demands on an individual. Those demands actually help you grow. So I have had to learn to be even more resourceful than I had been throughout my career in Hollywood and working in other areas. And entrepreneurship also means opportunity. I'm really blessed to have a mother who had been an entrepreneur for many years growing up. I don't believe my mother has worked for a company that was not her own since maybe the mid-'80s. And so seeing her in that role and seeing the freedom she could bring to our family because of it was a huge reason for me to go into entrepreneurship. I saw it as opportunity to grow my life in new and unexpected ways.
Okay. So I know you started your company in 2010, right? Correct. And so I know in this current climate that we're in, many people are starting to think about starting a business, becoming an entrepreneur. And so I want you to think back to 2010 or even 2009 when you were in the planning stages of launching your business. How did you define success back then?
So back then, I really did not know about being a hands-on entrepreneur and what it would take. I defined success having happy clients. I define success being able to show my clients the path to expert storytelling, helping them to increase their revenues. One small success I remember from back then was with one of my first clients who is a fitness trainer. His brand is LT Fit, and he has a logo that has stood the test of time. It was one of my first projects back then. So that is an example of success, but I'm not sure that I really had forecasted success. The need to open a business really came from being in the field of marketing communications, and having family members and friends say to me, hey, I know you build websites at your job. I know you work on these PR campaigns. I'm opening a business. I'm opening a restaurant. I'd really like to see what my opportunities are. And when that started to happen, I thought, well, I'm going to need to account for this extra income. And so I went to this, I reside in the state of Maryland, and I, filled out the proper paperwork, and I had a business. So I think those success metrics were really much more intangible back then. The fact that I was learning how to have a business, I was just giddy about that. So today, those metrics would be different.
And that's my next question. So, how has your definition of success changed over the years?
So, hopefully, as humans, we are changing our definitions because we are all evolving. And so, by virtue of that, I had to change that definition of success. So today, success is having a potential client hear about Big Media Agency and our reputation because we did such an amazing job on their associates rebrand, or, it's bringing clients to us who we had no idea that we were on their radar. In a very clear and present way for me, as I think about one of my big clients, and that would be Maryland Public Television. Success is growing their HBCU Week Now campaign. And Sherelle, I know you're a proud HBCU graduate, so I wanted to make sure to mention this during our time together. So HBCU Week Now is a public media partnership funded by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and with some other PBS entities. And you can find it on YouTube at HBCU Week Now. So while I am involved behind the scenes with the campaign, for me, success is bringing potential HBCU graduates, students to the channel to have them experience, all of the richness that comes with the legacy and the information history and the education surrounding our HBCUs, which are one of our great treasures in this world. My alma mater, Morgan State University, is known as the national treasure. But just this once, and hopefully our president, Dr. Wilson, will forgive me if I use the words national treasure to actually describe our HBCUs, because they have graduated, so many African Americans and non-African Americans actually who have contributed highly to our society. Everybody from, Taraji P. Henson to, some of the, greatest scientific folks from the past, actors, politicians. I mean, there's so many people that I can't even. It was kind of unfair for me to name one name because there's many names to share.
No, I don't want to say that name. So there are lots of people contributing in a great way in society from HBCUs. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, I attended Virginia State University, VSU. Yes, let's go, Trojans. And so, and I love that there are so many people who have graduated from HBCUs who are doing well in this country, because we know that the mindset is that HBCU education is less than, right? At least that's what the collective think. So we know that Kamala Harris graduated from Howard University as well. Yes. And so we are doing great things in society.
And I just I'm so glad you brought up actually my soror Kamala Harris, the great Kamala Harris. I just want to point out that while she did not win the presidential election, she showed us excellence in motion. Her campaign was on point, and you can say what you want to say about, her not reaching the masses, in terms of their, issues, etc. Well, she taught us quite a bit about human decency and excellence,
Absolutely.
didn't she? And so
Absolutely.
I am very proud of what she did for us. And I know that, so was it last week? Feels like the weeks have been very long since election night. I'm telling you, it's been a rough time. But,
Right.
As Black women, I know a lot of us are feeling like we're not being seen and valued in America. But I also want to counter that and say that we are excellent. And what you saw from Kamala Harris was excellence. And that's who we will continue to be, whether we are in America or we are somewhere else. And some of us will be going other places, with all of this. But, and that's one of the reasons why I am so excited about the work with HBCU Week now, because I have two young daughters. Well, one is 21 and the other one is 13. And I want them to fully understand who they are. When they arrive in any room, I want them to arrive in their full power and their full agency, heads held high and confident. Yes, your ancestors built this country.
Absolutely.
Each brick, each mortar, we have been the people who have even raised the children of this society, Black or white.
Absolutely.
So, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm an extrovert. I'm sorry, Sherelle, you got to talk forever, but I just want to make this last point. While the result was not what we wanted, this is not the time for us to hold our heads down.
Not at all.
For us to hold our heads higher and show the world just how excellent not we can be, just how excellent we are, period.
Absolutely.
And I do mean
women rock.
Say again?
Black women rock.
Yes, Black women do rock. And that's not going to change ever.
That's never going to change.
Never, ever.
And so you talked about having seen your mom, be an entrepreneur. So what gave you the courage to step out there and become an entrepreneur?
So while I founded my agency in 2010, I operated kind of as a consultancy for a while. And so it took a while. I was working full-time job and working on clients and working with contractors on the side. And then in 2022, I had it. I had a situation in an environment where I was not only was I not seen, but I was disrespected differently and not valued for the content of my character and exactly who I was. And it really gave me the finality to know that no one was coming to save me. I had to build my life on the most solid rock I could. And I didn't want to go into a workplace every day where I knew the energy wasn't right. Where I knew that I was not being encouraged properly or really seen for my gifts and talent. Or valued, exactly. So I decided to go outside and make sure that I created the kind of company where people can be seen and valued. And I decided to communicate with the folks who didn't value me by letting them see my LinkedIn. And I know they have. But it's
I love that for you.
Huh?
I said, I love that for you.
Because I don't have to say it. You're just going to see it.
Right.
And this is the revenue that I'm bringing in for my company. This is what I could have brought to you if you had just listened. But really, it's not about them. It's about the fact that we need to change this mindset in our society. Success does not look like one archetype, one race, one zip code, one educational degree. It does not. That's not what success is. And in fact, there are studies that show that when you work on teams that are diverse in every way, male, female, race, gender, ethnicity, everything, that the success of those operational teams go up. So those folks, some of which may be billionaires, and one of whom is the richest man in the world, who's been talking about dismantling DEI forever, what I would say to him is that, okay, well, prepare to lose money, because you're going to lose money, because you cannot operate at the highest level without having people from all segments of society who are able to contribute and weigh in on what's going on. So this elitist mentality, it will fall.
Absolutely.
It will fall. It can only, it's only a matter of time. And we're here to continue to do what we do with class and dignity, just like Kamala did. And we're gonna keep Kamala and carry on.
Come on, SNL. Well, it's so funny because we're not really funny, funny, but
right.
I don't think that there's a Black woman in America who has been in a professional environment who has not felt what Kamala Harris was feeling when she lost the election.
There's not.
There's not a one.
Not one.
And I know I've had multiple turns at that feeling, right? Mm-hmm. And, I just finally got to a point in my career where I was like, I just started using the word no.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take up? No. Can you? No, I cannot. Mm-hmm. Because it took me a while to get to that place, but I understood at some point that I was only good as long as they were the only ones benefiting from my talents.
That's right.
But when it came time for me to benefit from my talents, mm-hmm. some underqualified Caucasian would get the job. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, okay. All right. Got it. Mm-hmm. I'm on my way out. Mm-hmm. I'll see y'all later. Friday, my last day. Forget a 2-week notice. Friday.
And there too.
Because mm-hmm. you didn't give me no 2-week notice before you decided to pass me over, even though I was more than qualified, had the experience. And not only did I have the experience, but you continue to give me the experience by asking me to take on additional duties, additional responsibilities, additional roles, mm-hmm. and take over organizations. But yet, when it came time for me to be elevated to the next level, it was a problem.
You know what? I'm going to put something on my social media. I think you've just encouraged me. I have to come up with the rest of the saying. The Black tax has been forgiven, or something like that. It's the Black tax. This idea that as someone in a professional role, you have to work that much more, that much harder, that much more diligently in order to be seen, and not just seen, but like you said, promoted, recognized for your talents, and moved on to the next level. That's done. That's retired. And I've done that in my business. Mm-hmm. I no longer subscribe to the Black tax, but that is, a saying that people have used, and it's just, I want to encourage Black women in particular to become business owners. Whatever your journey is, whether you feel like you want to wait before you jump out there and leave your job, but you find an exit strategy. As it turns out, and I don't have the statistics in front of me, but in terms of those who are creating businesses, Black women is like one of the highest, if not the highest segment of society who are doing that. And part of what's been forcing us out is this, dealing with mainstream society's attitude towards us. We will not be defeated. We will not be destroyed, period.
Ever.
And ever, no matter what. That rap song, forever, ever?
Right.
Ever. And I think that is part of that empowerment, a part of that freedom that I feel with my business.
Okay, and so as the CEO of Big Media Agency, what's a typical day like for you?
Well, each morning, well, what's wonderful about my team is we're pretty much remote. Okay.
Okay.
So unless we have, an on-site meeting with the client, or, an on-site meeting in the office, we're on our 9:30 meeting every morning. We're going through our client list, going through the tasks for the day, following up, checking in to see which tasks still need to be accomplished, planning forward, researching for upcoming meetings, following up on creative brief deliverables and those like that. We have a whole creative process that we are engaged in with our clients, where we walk through exactly what they are looking for and exactly what we can do, not just to meet but exceed their expectations at each turn. So my day can mean anything from, let's see, having meetings online with my team and all of us going into a client meeting, or a few of us breaking apart or coming together, having larger team meetings. Sometimes I bring in, examples from pop, what's going on out there in pop culture. Sometimes I assign those to my team members to take a look at just how Matt Damon's character pitched the Air Jordan in that movie about Michael Jordan, where you never see Michael Jordan really, the one that just came out not long ago, because it's about the power of the storytelling. It's about engaging the audience. So first we must engage our clients, and then we must show our clients how we will engage their audiences, and therefore reap the benefit in terms of, commerce, notoriety, etc. Sometimes that day may include, hanging out with a client at an event. It just depends. And I think that's one of the things that I really love about marketing communications. Sometimes it means appearing on a podcast, because no day is the same. They're all different. And that is something that I personally really enjoy.
Okay, so let's talk about your clients. What type of clients have you worked with?
Sure. So one of my favorite clients has been the legendary actor, director, producer Bill Duke. We created a promotional campaign behind his book a few years ago. It was my 40 years on screen and behind the camera. And everybody respects Bill Duke. I mean, he's just an incredible, has been an incredible talent for so many years, from the first time we saw him as Abdul in the movie Car Wash.
Oh, okay.
Abdul. I might not have that right, but whatever. He was the brother in Car Wash who had on the skull cap. And, I mentioned Maryland Public Television and the HBCU Week Now campaign, but we have several other contracts with Maryland Public Television. We've just finished screening 2 of their documentaries, Harriet Tubman, Visions of Freedom, and Becoming Frederick Douglass. We screened those at the end of 2022 and a little bit into 2023 at 71 colleges and universities across the country, 46 of which were HBCUs. So that activity has fallen in our event marketing kind of service category. So it's very cool because we're in the credits as well.
Okay.
Media agency, which is nice. One of our clients, so we're also very mission driven, and some of our nonprofit clients really, really get to the core of who we are in terms of how we want to build communities. And one of them is Mentoring Male Teens in the Hood. They're a nonprofit organization that for 28 years has been investing in boys and building strong men. So back in June, right before Juneteenth, my days were spent in Alabama with my client and 31 of the boys in their program, the young men in their program. We went to the legacy museums in Alabama And those were very affecting
Mm.
museums for all of us. And these are the museums that a famous attorney created from, I think, his MacArthur grant. And they tell the story of slavery and over incarceration in ways that, in my numerable years on the planet, have never seen before. It was very, very affecting. I encourage everyone to go to the legacy museums in Alabama. So, those days were spent capturing that story and seeing those young men experience and consume those stories for the first time in different ways that they've been taught in school. And as a matter of fact, that was what they said over and over again. They don't teach us this in school. They don't teach us this in school. Well, and there's a reason for that.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's a reason the books have been banned.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, because they don't want us to really connect with who we are and our power and our resilience. And so, those whose families were a part of the torture of African Americans through slavery, through Jim Crow, and then, of course, the psychological torture that happens today.
Right.
Don't want to feel guilty about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's this real life cast that's been going on in America. And so that particular experience, documenting that, and then getting the young men on several of the news stations and even on Juneteenth was pretty special, because the listening audience and the viewers were able to see just how powerful that experience was for those young men. And that, they're not, twiddling their thumbs while they're going on these trips. They're absorbing, important information to apply to their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So, those are a few. Our clients come from a variety of sectors, and some of them are individuals, who want to achieve some very specific results in their business. We do a little bit of behind the scenes consulting in terms of helping their businesses grow, setting them up for success from a marketing perspective. And there are a lot. I could sit here and name from, a very powerful, powerhouse motivational speaker. Actually, she's a transformational speaker who's going on a tour soon. You may know who she is. She's become a client to one of her speakers where we met, who is writing a book. They just keep coming in every day, and it's about trying to balance that the work and really providing the best output possible for our clients, and a bit of hand-holding too, but hand-holding to the point of empowerment.
Right.
Like, we know you can do this. We're going to give you the tools to do this. We're going to walk you through, and then when we let your hand go, you're just going to walk with such confidence and grace into the new world, into the beyond. So that's what we do.
So one of the things I notice on social media is that people have all sorts of business ideas out there, promoting all kinds of businesses. What's one thing that you see on social media that if they were working with your company, big media agency, that you would advise them differently?
So I think sometimes I'm one of those people in a conference room, like where you get 15 people together and they all want to talk all over each other, you know what I mean? And everybody wants to say the most important thing. I sit back and I wait until I have the thing that's going to change the conversation, and I say it.
Okay.
Social media has become a place where noise is supreme. Loud noise. And I think that and I'm not saying that you should, not post as often, but if you post, it better be purposeful. It better be on point. Your channels should have different, um, different objectives, really.
Mm-hmm.
So, as an agency, we want to show our clients that we can create all kinds of content. So that's at the forefront of some of our channels. At a forefront of other channels is, the conversation piece. And I think that those are really important objectives, to figure out what does your audience really need from you in order to move forward. So
Okay,
that,
and Marquita said be intentional.
yes, that's right, Marquita. Be intentional. I saw an amazing piece of content the other day. It was posted on, I'm a naturalista. I wear natural hair, no chemicals. And this is, even though I've been natural before, this wash and go style is kind of new for me. And so I've been looking at all these products and all these methods. But the other day, I saw a piece of content that I've been meaning to go back to. It was reposted, I think, by Mael or one of the natural hair care products from someone else, and it was about Black women and our power, and we were morphing into these different figures from history. And so it's not just about the actual content, it's the timing, and that came out like the next day after the election. And I think that that is a particularly moving point for us, that not only will we keep going, but we can't be stopped because we haven't been stopped. And I don't want to go on that whole tangent because we already talked about that earlier. But it's about the type of content you post at what time. It's the whole, a lot of the brands do this. I think it was Oreo who had the famous post some years ago, you can't dunk in the dark or something about milk, and they posted it during Super Bowl, and it got this amazing number of likes and shares and overall engagement metrics. So it's what you post, being intentional, as Marquita said, timing, and psychology. How can you get into the minds of the folks who are waiting to receive that image or that message from you?
Okay. So I know that there are other media companies or agencies out there.
Mm-hmm.
So what sets big media agency apart from those other companies?
Sure. So part of it is my background. I think it's unique to have someone who's been a situation comedy writer, so who can tell a story with great humor, but who's also been an alt weekly reporter who can tell a story with compassion, and someone who also demonstrates, best practices in terms of marketing communications. Having all of those talents are, I think, unique in an individual. And so building off of that, and then having the audacity of believing that we can build your story bigger than you would have ever hoped or imagined. And when you bring it to us, or bring, your idea to be crafted to story, that it is going to become something really special. I think it is the way in which we treat our clients. There are many agencies who will remain nameless in this conversation, who are much more snarky than we are. We're real people. We're down to earth. We can identify with our clients. And I think that makes us different. And certainly my identity, it's undeniable. You can look at me and see who I am. I'm a Black woman, but I happen to be from Baltimore. And some of my background is very unique. From Baltimore, I went to an HBCU, but I worked for the Walt Disney Company, where I was having cocktails with titans of industry in the entertainment world. So, I hire people with those similar backgrounds, people who are relatable, real people. And so those are points that combine to become areas of uniquity for us.
Okay. So how do you advertise your business?
Mhm. So we do a little bit of advertising, some digital advertising. But you know what's crazy is that a lot of people find us, and some of that is word of mouth. I'm
Hmm.
not suggesting you all do this. I love people. I'm a social butterfly. You know, I belong to some um, pretty heavy hitting business groups, and I'm well connected. So, what we do, in our, you know, outside of us, really just elevates what we're doing. But I recommend in this age, definitely digital marketing is really important.
Hmm.
But I also think that you have to do some analytics to really find out where your clients are coming from right now and amplify that. And then tinker with it. You know, if you're getting a lot of clients from your website, okay, which pages, where are they dropping off? You know, how are they getting to, to book a meeting with you, et cetera, and so forth. That's the whole science behind the marketing, so that you understand the value of the marketing, and also you can continually create results that yield you the best clients.
So, so I have a business as well,
Yes.
and I do HR, human resources, and leadership training.
Yes.
And so I'm having been retired a little over 2 years ago,
Mhm.
um, have been able to receive paid work through it started through word of mouth, right?
Mhm.
And so I don't necessarily, and the type of training that I do, I could do as much as I want or as little as I want throughout the year. And
Okay.
so I haven't necessarily had to, I haven't necessarily had to be the go getter to bring the money in.
Mhm.
And I'm so thankful for that, because at where my head space is right now, having retired from the craziness 2 years ago, I don't know that I have the energy for it, but I'm open to receiving the opportunities.
Mhm.
And so, but I do know that if I really wanted to scale higher, that there are opportunities out there for me to do so. I just don't know that I'm there yet. And
Sure.
so, so my question is, I know that I'm good at what I do, right?
Yes, you
But
are.
it's about, oh yeah, because I'm also, I speak at conferences, I MC conferences, and I love that,
That's
right? Because
awesome. Mhm.
that is my talent, and I recognize that that's the talent that God gave me.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't know that I have thought about this for myself, and
Mhm.
that is, how am I providing or creating value for my clients,
Mhm.
right? I know that the training I deliver is, A plus based on evaluations. And because of the subject matters that I teach, I pretty much know a lot of that stuff off the top of my head, haven't done it for a long time.
Mhm.
But, I don't know that I've ever thought about, how am I creating value,
Mhm.
right? Beyond just giving them the knowledge.
Mhm.
Um, and so, my question for you is, have you thought about the value that you're providing to your clients, and what does that value look like?
Mhm. Well, definitely, because value is everything. So if I have a client who hires me for a big job, I complete the job to their satisfaction, but they don't really value the work, then I've missed something.
Mm,
So I think evaluation is important. You mentioned that you provide surveys. Having that conversation with the client ahead of time. Okay, what are the key points? What's your low hanging fruit in terms of this, and what are your top um, values, your core metrics. There's another word or phrase I'm trying to think of, but I can't call it right now. And making sure that the service matches up with that. So, their survey at the beginning and the survey at the end match up. And then it's not just about getting the value, it's about promoting it. So it's in the testimonials. It's in the case studies. Case studies are big for us. We use case studies a lot. We communicate the result a lot to their, on our website. We can communicate them in our proposals, etc., and so forth. And the hope is that those testimonials and those case studies really support value. But now we live in a world where seeing is everything, connecting with the expression that someone uses. And so putting those testimonials online communicates value. That's why we're always on, flipping channels, trying to buy this, that, and the other thing, because we connect with the face of that person who's saying, yes, I lost 25 pounds in 3 weeks. Value. So, we have to all, and myself included, that's an area where we need to grow, and we need to put more, case studies that we've, clients where we've put the camera on them and had them share. But so, and I think the other piece is that it depends on your industry, because value can, your industry and also the service. Like, for example, if I'm getting sponsorships, which is one of the services we offer, if I raise $1 million for a client, well, there's some tangible value to that, right? When I meet and exceed their sponsorship goal. So I think it's really, just to kind of wrap it up, it's about assessing what the points of value would be at the beginning, seeing if they're delivered at the end, and then communicating that delivery in the most dynamic ways possible.
You just said something to pique my interest about the sponsorships, because my sister and we do a women's conference. So one of the things we were planning to do now, we've been doing the conference, I think, for 8 years, minus 1 year for COVID, but we are in a transition period for next year because we want to elevate to a different level. And one of the things my sister was working on was trying to get more sponsorship for the conference so that we can keep the cost reasonable. My interest, I'm gonna have to follow up with you about that one. Also, no, go ahead.
No, we are very active with clients working on sponsorships, everything from creating sponsorship packages, to, and in that packaging, recommending, opportunities for their clients to get services, that are a little bit more unique sometimes than just the one page ad in the program booklet. Leveraging relationships, helping them to get, top keynote speakers. We're doing some work with top speakers to get them speaking engagements. This is a very different space and world that we're living in, with so many opportunities to be dynamic in so many spaces. Corporations are looking for people with authentic voices who can communicate and connect with their target audience. And so that's definitely an area where we're winning. We worked with one of our clients I mentioned earlier, Mentoring Male Teens in the Hood, and helped them. They had a specific numerical goal. We helped them raise twice that in a very short period of time. And it's really just about, being able to use media to tell those stories that people aren't quite accustomed to seeing or connecting with.
Okay. You just said something else that piqued my interest. Open with the speaking circuit now. That's what my love language is.
Okay. Well, we're here for it.
Okay. And Marquita says, do you assist real estate professionals?
Absolutely. So my background includes having worked at an advertising agency where real estate was one of our core areas of capability. We're focused more so on commercial real estate, but there are specific tools that we utilize that can be applied to either commercial or residential. One of the things that we did was, well, I take that back a little bit. We did do both commercial and residential, but one of the things we did for residential real estate, mostly multifamily, which is different from selling, one house, is lease ups. And that is an extreme kind of environment of marketing when you have only 6 months to lease up a 250 unit apartment building. So that may require having a drink named after that apartment building at the local bar. It may include having a pop-up symphony in the spring when we're trying to get people to come in and actually view the apartment and sign leases. So real estate is now a very dynamic profession. And, people want to connect with that dwelling, be it an apartment or a home, and and they want to connect with it and see themselves making their favorite meal in that kitchen. There are a lot of psychological ties when you're looking to sell real estate. So there are real opportunities to market in unique ways, and then there are other platforms to market. On now we have the Hulus of the world. Online. Advertising opportunities, and somebody's clicking their remote and home in their pajamas, thinking about how they really hate the crack in their ceiling. They really want to have another place to live in the next 6 months. They want to buy it. So yes, we do it all. So if there's a product or service to be marketed, then come to Big Media Agency.
Okay. And I know, being a business owner, that starting a business and being able to maintain a business and make that business profitable is not necessarily an easy thing to do.
That is
and
true.
that there will be challenges, there will be obstacles, and there will be failures. So talk to me about a failure that you experienced and what did you learn from it?
Oh boy, you're really, really stretching my brain today. Let me think about a failure. I mean, I think that there are many failures along the way. And when I say many, communications is a very detailed business. So if you don't line up exactly with the client, or there's a misunderstanding about what the client said versus what they actually meant, that can turn into a big failure, right? So the winning is in making sure that those connections stay tight. And when you notice a failure, bring it back. Say, hey, wait! I just want to recalibrate there. I just want to reconnect. Did you say, that type of thing? So you said failures, and now am I talking about the other two, challenges, and what was the other one?
Well, and Marquita says lessons is what I call them, and I like to call them opportunities for improvement.
Yes.
And so, I know that, you can address the challenges and the obstacles that you've experienced.
So the obstacles have been, sometimes people aren't quite top of mind. You aren't quite top of mind. I mean, you get to a certain point, but then they have to follow up, or, there's another RFP that's coming out and they forget to, so you have to call them. I think the thing that is a challenge for me sometimes is, and I'm a tad bit impatient, just a tad. So it requires making that call for the second, third, sometimes the 10th and the 11th time. And when you make the call, you have to sound bright and cheery. Hey, I know you were going to get me that RFP yesterday, but hasn't hit my inbox yet. Can you take 2 minutes today and send it? Just 2 minutes, I won't bother you anymore. It's that the challenge is always having your game face. Because we're humans, and humans are emotional. And when I have 10,000 things going on and my daughter wants her favorite snack and the client is calling about something they need and an employee is calling, I'm going to be a little bit annoyed if I have to ask you the same question again. And that's something I don't like to, this is a personal a pain point. I don't really like to keep repeating myself. I don't like to do it in motherhood. And, I don't. So that may extend just a tidbit to my business. So obstacles, you just have to come to it every single day, knowing you're going to leap the wall.
Come on now, I like that. Leap the wall. Yes.
And sometimes you go to the wall, and you're like, oh, here we go, but you just have to jump. You have to jump, and that's because I always try to keep that in mind. I eat what I kill. And if I don't kill, I don't eat. So it's making the adaptation, shifting the mindset, which is something I love. I love thinking about mindset work and shifting mindsets. I'm a podcast fanatic. I love watching them.
Okay.
Because it's fascinating for me to learn about people who are successful in business or motherhood or whatever it is, and how they've been able to adapt and change their mindset. That's where the magic is. That's where the deliciousness is. In campaigns, marketing campaigns, that's where the excitement is. Well, I'm going to add $500 here to this YouTube advertising budget, and I'm going to see how many more subscribers it gets me. That's exciting, because you get to watch, look at the thing, see when the numbers go up, and so it's all it's really exciting for me. And I think I dare say, navigating the challenges brings some level of excitement to me as well.
So there's a book called Shifting Your Mindset and Your View Will Change by Dr. Sharon Cradle. And so when you started talking about changing your mindset, it immediately made me think of that book. So go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's what we all have to do every day to be successful in anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll give you a real life example. My 13-year-old thinks money grows on trees or on my fingers. On the trees or on my fingers. And I, for 13 years, I have not been able to get it through to her that, that's probably not an accurate depiction. So I have to change my mindset, knowing when she comes to me and she says my name in a certain tone, Mom, she's trying to set me up, right? I already know. So I have to change my mindset and say, yes, Taylor, how can I be of service to you today? Or say something that she's not expecting, right? So that it maybe gets her off her game. So we don't want to get clients off their game, obviously, but it's important, just as it's important to craft the story, you have to have a little bit of an expectation of what people are going to say to you. You have to be a strategist.
Yes.
To be able to think on your feet.
Yes.
And then you have to be able to create an execution plan that works, and probably fairly quickly. And then, let's say after this podcast or after meeting with the client, you have to have a few moments to yourself and look at each point and say, maybe we can flip this or that, or maybe this will work better. And then represent it to the client. When we met, I thought this was a great idea. I still think it's a good idea, but I think we should add this. I think we should do that. It's about being that wizard in the wardrobe. It's all the world's a stage. Everybody wants to be entertained today. It doesn't mean that you're being disingenuous.
Well, less serious about your business.
Less serious, but you have to grip them. You have to get them excited. And the reason for that, and this is a fact that I learned from Ad Age several years ago, so it may be a little different now. So every day, each human, you, Sherelle, me, Christina, we each see 2,000 advertising messages from all of the ways in which we consume media. online, billboards, whatever, right? Signage. Of the 2,000, Sherelle, how many do you think we remember every day?
3.
You are so close. The answer's 2.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that means that we have to be that more focused on making sure that our message cuts through the noise and delivers to the right person. That's how serious it is.
Well, you know what, Christina? This hour has gone by very quickly. And I feel like we could talk for at least another hour.
We could.
But share with the audience how they can reach out to you.
Yes. So first of all, I'm so excited to meet all of you. Please reach out to me. Our website is bigmediaagency.com. You can go right on the homepage on the top right. It says book appointment if you want to meet with us. We'd be happy to meet with you to talk about your marketing communication strategies. Let's go. Let's get going.
Okay. And what about your social media sites?
Yes. So on Instagram, please connect with us at Real Big Media Agency. And then on Facebook, we're Big Media Agency.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Christina. This was great. It gave me some ideas. If I ever decide to move into a different direction, I'm really still trying to be more retired than I am working.
Well, you know what? You can have different days in your month.
Oh, absolutely.
Retired days and your certain number of working days. But certainly, I am so excited and esteemed to have been on your podcast. Thank you so much for having me on. I learned a lot and I'm always happy to connect. So should you need anything ever, you know where to find me.
Yes, absolutely. So sit tight for me. Audience, sit tight with me. I am going to move into my What the Hell segment. But one last time, I want to say thank you to Christina Royster for joining us and having this very important conversation about not only a Black-owned business, but Black-owned woman business and how we as a community are going to support this business. So thank you.
Thank you.
So let's talk about what the hell. So, I have seen time and time again, protect Black women at all costs. And nothing grates my nerve more than seeing some Black woman being dragged on social media. It really grates my nerve when I see somebody dragging a Black female on social media when they don't even know the female, right? And so let's move into our real protect Black women at all costs. And let's not go into dragging Black women. And Black men, check yourself, do better. Do not drag Black women on social media, at your house, on your block, at the store. You're supposed to be our protectors. And I'm looking to you and willing to hold you accountable to protect Black women at all costs. We are tired. We have had it. We are in our rest mode because we want somebody else to step up and show that they appreciate us for who we are, what we contribute, and how we're going to move forward. Don't have us looking at you and saying, what the hell? Now, I have seen different type of videos on YouTube talking about this group of people want Black women not to give up, they want us to stay in the fight. That group want us to stay in the fight. We're not staying in the fight. That fight that you created on November 5th is your fight. And we said on November 6th, what the hell? And so as we go forward, we will continue to say, what the hell? You got it. But I do not want to see any Black woman being disrespected, being dragged, or being talked about in a negative way on social media. If I see you, I am going to call you out. Yes, I am, because I am tired. I'm extremely tired. And I am not going to sit back and watch anybody drag a Black female. We've done our part. We deserve better. We deserve your support. We deserve your protection. And we deserve your respect. And anything less than that, I'm going to be asking you, what the hell? So thank you all for joining me today. I will not be doing the show in 2 weeks because that is Thanksgiving, and I will be in the kitchen cooking, talking about what the hell did I agree to this for. But that's what I'll be. But I will see you all in 1 month from 1 month from today. So 4 Thursdays, and I will be bringing you another fabulous guest. Thank you for joining me. Have a great night. Thank you for joining and participating in Let's Get Into It. I want to thank my special guest for being brave enough to get into it. Without you, these conversations cannot happen. Remember, different viewpoints, respect, and love are the foundations of Let's Get Into It. If there's a topic you think I should discuss, drop me a recommendation. If you're interested in being my special guest, let me know, because we can and will get into it. Have a great day on purpose, and I look forward to your continued engagement and support as we get into it.